Hey, real writers. It's Chris here with your December tarot/oracle reading for writers. And writers means poets, prose writers, essayists, playwrights, songwriters, screenplay writers, anybody who writes, any kind of writing. I usually just say writers. Sometimes I'll say poets. I'll try to include all the different types of writers, but I often slip into just writers and sometimes probably focus a little too much on prose, so sorry about that. I'm really sucking at doing these at the beginning of the month. Sorry about that too. I thought I would use a new deck that I bought that isn't really a tarot deck and it's not an oracle deck either. It is this lovely deck called Botanical Inspirations. It's late and I don't want all the lights on, so the light's rather dim. I hope you can still see these cards. But it's a really pretty box. Botanical Inspirations. Lynn Araujo, I think that's how you say it. And the drawings are these vintage botanical drawings by a Frenchman who was born in 1759 and died in 1840. Pierre-Joseph Redoute was an illustrator, born to a Flemish family of decorative painters. As a young man, he went to Paris, where he began painting the flowers of the royal gardens. So, I shuffled the cards and I picked some, haven't seen them. And I'm just going to see what comes out of these cards. They're just more thought-provoking than they are a form of divination necessarily. Although they can be, I guess. But they're probably good for journaling and they make you think. And, they focus on the language of flowers. And flowers used to be a big deal in terms of being sent to people to mean different things in society. And they sent secret messages between, lovers, for example. We don't live in that world anymore, really, but people still send certain flowers for certain things. Obviously roses for Valentine's Day. I personally prefer something a little more original, but no shade if you love roses. Just for me, I am not a roses kind of person. And then certain times of year or certain instances of life, death, changes of seasons, etc., we rely on certain kinds of flowers, and they do still have that kind of meaning. So perhaps there will be some meaning in these cards for you today. I just thought they were lovely, and I bought them, and I'm very glad that I did. And I'm not going to look any deeper. Like, if you know way more about flowers than I do, please feel free to put something in the comments about your interpretation, but I'm just going to go with a little bit of what the little book says, and also just what comes up for me. So, I don't have any stones here I have a ton of stones, but I didn't feel like using any stones today. So this will be card number 1, card number 2, and card number 3. So we will start with card number 1, and these keep falling over every time I try to put them up here, but I'm going to try to do it anyway. Okay, so card number 1 is an amaryllis, and it's this glorious deep red flower, and my phone is not adjusting. I'm going to read it to you. The amaryllis means determination and creative achievement. Well, if that isn't just perfect. The quote is from Maya Angelou. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. So there we go. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. That is pretty perfect. So let me tell you what amaryllis means in terms of the language of the flowers. According to legend, Amaryllis was a love-struck maiden who had to get creative in order to gain the affection of the handsome shepherd who was only interested in his flowers. In desperation, she pierced her own heart, leaving a path of blood droplets to his front door. After 30 days, the droplets turned to stunning scarlet flowers. The shepherd was so taken with the flowers, he fell in love with Amaryllis, and her heart was healed. The amaryllis has come to be associated with pastoral poetry. To the Victorians, the winter-blooming amaryllis was a symbol of determination that was often given to artists to inspire their creativity. So, if you've been feeling that you're stuck, or you're not believing in yourself in terms of your skill as a writer, or a project you're working on, maybe things haven't been going very well in your writing, or you feel like they just suck and you're not getting that excited moment of discovery and, feeling excited and probably a little nauseous. I think that there's not a little nausea involved in writing. Then you don't have the creative spark going. There's always something a little like, and it's a good feeling sick. It's an excited feeling sick when something is going really well in your writing. It's kind of overwhelming. And I know that sounds weird, but for those of you who get that, you'll know exactly what I mean. Feel a little thrilled, terrified, and nauseous when the writing's going well. So maybe if you're not feeling that and you're feeling doubts about yourself, this card means don't. You have muses, and they're sending you what they can. Maybe if you believe in yourself more, you'll tune in and things will flow better. You need to get rid of the doubts, and fulfill your creative destiny. You have to believe in yourself, believe in order to achieve. So that's easier said than done, believe me, I know that. So I guess what I would say is, if you can just turn off that inner critic or that inner editor for an hour or a few hours, or if someone's given you some really difficult critique of your work or feedback and it's been really hard, they don't know everything. Even editors don't know everything, and hopefully we're giving you critique that's direct, because it's not going to help you to dance around the things that need to be fixed, but we've done it in the spirit of making the book better and to cheer you on versus take you down. So obviously, if you're working with someone who seems to be really trying to take you down, then don't listen to that person anymore. Don't work with that person anymore. And you have to have a thick skin as a writer, and an editor is not going to be like, hugging you and patting you on the head and saying, it's going to be great, don't worry. We have to tell you the truth. So you're going to have a little bit of a thick skin there. But there's a difference, even members of your critique group, or if you're in an MFA program, or you're just sharing your work with other people, you have to step back a little, take a few extra steps back, and try not to take things personally. There's always a grain of truth in something, but that doesn't mean that the whole thing is true that someone's telling you. And if you just can't accept any of it, then just ignore all of it and keep moving forward, because it's more important that you believe in yourself, and don't let the doubts hold you back and keep you from writing. Be determined. Be determined to achieve your creative dreams. That's really important. If you're not determined, no one else is going to do that for you. You have to believe in yourself. So I'm telling you, I believe in you. And just keep the amaryllis in mind. Maybe look up a picture of that online and tack it up over your desk, your writing desk, or take a picture and put it on your phone so you can look at it. And remember, it means determination and creative achievement. if you do, if you keep at it, you will be recognized and rewarded in some way. I don't know how big or how small that looks, and no achievement is too small, but if you persist, that will have a good result. Persistence does pay off. So that was Amaryllis. God, let me try to do this without knocking them all over. Oh, okay, card number 2 is Nasturtium, also red. I wonder if there's a theme here. Can't really see how red this is. I cannot bear to turn on the lights, I'm sorry. I just can't do it. It's very rainy and cold, and I'm just living by Christmas tree lights, candles, and my Himalayan salt lamp. I don't want to use regular lights. So let me read you Nasturtium. I'm not even going to try to read their Latin name or whatever this is. I just can't. I'll butcher it. This means victory and conquest. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. That's by Lao Tzu. Hope I'm saying Lao Tzu's name right. So again, victory and conquest. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. Come on, camera. There we go. Well, that's also a very great card. Sensing a theme here. Not just in color, but red is a power color. So let's see what a nasturtium means. I'm assuming it's nasturtium, not nasturtium. That sounds kind of weird. And I've never actually purchased or grown or been given this flower, so I have zero experience with it. The entire nasturtium plant is edible, including its flowers, leaves, and seeds. Well, that's very handy. The name translates from the Latin phrase nose twister, a reference to the plant's pungent, peppery taste. There are several stories that explain why the nasturtium is associated with victory. Linnaeus named the plant, Tropaeolum, because he thought the helmet-shaped flowers resembled the trophies of battlefield victory. Also, the first Europeans to discover nasturtiums in Mexico and South America were conquistadors, thus the plant came to symbolize conquest. So, and I should have said this with the other flower. It may be that the stories that I'm reading you from the book about the flower and what it means and the stories and myths associated with them could inspire you to write something. You could use them as a writing prompt as well. So consider that if you want to just try a poem or something on this flower and what it means. That could be, or a short flash fiction piece or whatever. That could be a really great little writing exercise. So in the previous reading, I talked about small, I don't know if I said small victories, but being rewarded in small or large ways for persistence and determination in your writing. And this is a very tiny little flower, but it represents victory and conquest. So I guess I would say don't judge a book by its cover, and don't judge a writer either. Not by its cover, because that doesn't make any sense, but you just never know what might come out of the smallest thing you do, like a small poem or a short story or a writer you meet who knows somebody, or a small local contest that you win or whatever. You don't know where these small victories can take you. They can just lead to greater and greater victories. This is also making me think of big things come in little packages or small packages. Small but mighty, like all those cliches. It's making me think that I'm wondering if this refers to also like a novella. If you have never tried a novella, maybe that's something to try. Maybe your story, this is what I'm getting. So maybe your story, this is if you're a prose writer, is best told as a novella instead of stretching it out into something bigger than it really is. So this is also making me think of editing something down to its clearest, purest form versus having a lot of showmanship, a lot of flash and glam and smoke and mirrors, too many metaphors, too many adjectives, dancing around something instead of just writing what it is. And that can be in any kind of writing, not just prose. But I would also say that this flower is also about conquering self-doubt. I talked about this in the first card too. Don't listen to those inner voices, the inner critic, the inner editor. And if you can just keep self-doubt at bay, you can get so much done. You can create so much success. And again, like I said, this is so much easier said than done. Boy, do I know that. So set a timer. You know, do that Pomodoro thing where you set a timer for 25 minutes and just do your thing flat out. Like just write flat out for 25 minutes and just don't let anything get in your way. You know, if any doubts come into your mind, just say no or cancel and keep going. And then see what happens. And try doing that regularly, at least once a day if you're writing every day, or to start your writing practice and see what happens. And just also don't judge what you write in that exercise. If you do it, don't judge it. If you don't like it, don't, put it aside, but don't delete it. Don't throw it away. Keep it. Maybe use a notebook and keep it. We have to all get past this idea that everything you write has to be perfect, and you have to be perfect, and everyone else is perfect and you're not, because that's so not true. We all see what people want us to see, and believe me, everyone has a notebook and a computer full of shit writing, okay? We all have it. So just own yours. And it won't all be shit writing, I guarantee you. You could read it a week later and find something amazing in it. So no to self-doubt. Okay, oh dear, I'm going to knock this all over. Card number 3. The bellflower. Oh, it's purple. Yes? Looks purple. The bellflower. It's very pretty. Little star-shaped flowers. The bellflower means gratitude. Well, this is a nice way to end if you're doing the whole reading. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Melody Beatty, or Beatty, depending on how you say her name. Okay, so I'm going to out myself here for a second. Okay, phone, come on. Gratitude. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. So Melody Beatty, or Beatty, not sure. Melody, let's just call her Melody. If I'm thinking of the right one, she created these meditations for people with anxiety that I used to listen to religiously. I had this little cassette tape of her meditations, and some of them had some very silly ideas and lines. I thought, I'm not really good with the inner child stuff, and there was one where you were holding yourself as a baby that just made me laugh, and a friend of mine laugh about it. Every time I tried to listen to it, we used to make fun of it. Sorry, Melody. But if it makes you laugh and you have anxiety, I think that's a good thing. It helped me laugh when I was feeling very stressed out. Anyway, if you're feeling anxiety, this is coming up for me, so I'm just going to share it. That little cassette tape, which I still have somewhere, really, really, really helped me. I used to listen to it before bed to try to chill out because it was very hard to rest and sleep. My mind would be zooming a million miles an hour. So if anxiety is holding you back, think of all the things you're grateful for. Make a list of all the things you're grateful for. Fear can't exist where love is, and I think that anxiety can't exist where gratitude is too. So that just popped up. So I'm going to say that and read you what bellflower means. There are all kinds of enchanting stories associated with the bellflower. In ancient mythology, Venus owned a magic looking glass with the power to transform anything ordinary into something beautiful. When Cupid accidentally broke the mirror, each broken shard turned into a lovely bellflower. Sweet little bellflowers are also believed by some to be gifts of gratitude left by the fairies. Oh my gosh, how lovely is that? I think the bellflower is now my new favorite flower. Well, feel free to use that in a story or in a poem. I think I might be writing a poem about this tomorrow. That's fantastic. So I guess what I would say is, let's see, there's a message here in the broken. Something broken becomes a gift. Something broken turns into something beautiful. So you might think that something you're working on right now is not good. You might have ripped it to shreds, or somebody else did, like an editor. Again, no editor should be ripping your book to shreds. But they might say you need to revise significantly. That's different. But so maybe you had some horrible critique, or someone said they didn't like something, or you read it and you ripped it to shreds, and you're just feeling like it's a piece of crap and it's broken. But there are gifts in something that doesn't work. I've said this before, there is no such thing as failed writing. Everything you write moves you forward in some way. So you should keep even what you think is failed writing. Because again, it's not failed writing. I don't know what I should call it. I need to think of a name for it. But you can take the pieces and make something beautiful out of it. They are, the pieces of previous work are gifts. If you've written something like a whole novel or a bunch of poems and you feel like they all suck, again, they moved you forward. And in those poems or in that prose, there are pieces that you can take out, you can lift out, and they will lead you forward. You can find the goodness in these pieces, and look on the bright side of what you've written. Instead of always looking at the negative of what you've written, look at the bright side. I think that's something everyone should do the first time they're reading something they've written. I definitely suggest putting things aside for at least a few days or a week or a couple of weeks or a month if you can before you go back. Otherwise, we are often way too critical of ourselves in our writing. But, when you're reading something for the first time, look for all the good things and make a list of all the good things that you see, no matter how small. These are gifts. These are proof of your writing gifts. You have them, you should cultivate them, and you should be grateful for them. And then coming from that perspective, you can look at the things that need to be fixed, that seem broken, and find the gifts in them as well. How can you turn them around and make them whole instead of broken? So I'm going to end on that. I love these cards. I'm going to end on that, and I'm going to turn them around super quick so you can see them again. They're so pretty. And they're sort of on this pale yellow background, or sort of, not pale yellow, but sort of a sepia kind of background. So they have an old appearance to them as well. Anyway, I wish you all happy holidays and a beautiful, healthy, happy, prosperous New Year. I am hopefully going to do something on New Year's Day, a reading on New Year's Day, maybe something else. Haven't decided what I want to do on a video, but I'm going to think of something fun, I hope. Make sure you write on New Year's Day. It's important to do what you love to do on New Year's Day to set the tone for your whole year. So make sure you spend some time writing on New Year's Day. Happy writing, everyone.